told you.
All right, now that everybody's asleep, let's get
So anyway, there I was.
It was me, 27 bikini contestants, and a bottle of lube.
What Doug didn't know is that it was the men's semifinal bikini round. They were all named Steve.
And I do not look great in a thong.
Future Mr. Lumberjack of America.
I disagree, Doug. I think you look great in a thong. I've jerked off to it a couple of times in my mind.
Well, that's not saying much.
No, it doesn't. I've jerked off to much worse than that in my mind. So,
I hear Ambien does that.
Dude. So I found an Ambien from my sinus surgery back in June. They gave me 2 of them, and I took one the night of the surgery or the next night. I don't remember. Didn't seem to do much, but fuck, I was on all kinds of drugs at the time. Well, I found one. Yeah, you were on all kinds of drugs while I was at my surgery too. And so Friday, I went in all day for the second round of my tattoo sleeve on my right side. And when I got home, I was like, I mean, you're just sitting there for 8 hours while someone's stabbing you in the fucking arm. And I was tired, but I was wound up, and I was going through to make sure I had ibuprofen and shit like that. And I was like, oh, look, I got an Ambien left. Tonight'd be a great night to take that. Dude, I don't know what it has done to my brain chemistry, but I have slept for 2 days. I slept all day Saturday. I have slept most of today. Guys hit me up and were like, hey, we can do the podcast early if you want. I was like, no, I just woke up. It's like 6:15 or where the fucking time it was. So I've been getting up, going through these wild cleaning tangents, and then I just go back to sleep. I'm like a fucking Roomba with a bad battery. So
that's the weirdest symptom ever. You fucking wake up, have the urge to clean, and then you
for 5 minutes.
That's good. Let me just sit down and rest here for.
Yes. You just summed up my whole goddamn weekend. That's been what I've been
Ambien for that.
No, well, the anxiety-driven cleaning is pretty common. No, I don't need Ambien for that. But I think the weird fucking narcoleptic spells in between might have something to do with it. So I don't know. Maybe it's just I didn't sleep much this last week. Maybe it's just catching up with me. I had one of those weeks where, like, every night I'd be tired. I'm like, oh yeah, I'm gonna go to bed. I'd go and lay down, turn lights off. As soon as my head hit the pillow, it was like, boing, and I was just fucking awake. And So I don't know. Like I said, maybe that's just catching up to me, but it just seemed odd that I took that Ambien Friday night.
Little column A, little column B.
Right.
Yeah.
That's what I'm wondering. So, but
Yeah, it's got to be that. We're all pretty normal, neurotypical people that definitely don't have any weird executive dysfunction or anything.
I mean, that's pretty much what I was thinking. So, yeah, you're probably right. Probably right.
I'm pretty normal, so I don't know about you guys,
Yeah,
but
I agree.
Yeah,
I agree.
yeah,
I think
thanks.
you're pretty normal.
Thanks, man.
As I
I
clear
think he's pretty when he's not normal.
Oh.
You're welcome, sweetie.
Thanks, man. That means a lot.
You should have been the Gerber baby, goddammit.
I think you should still be the Gerber baby.
I might be. You don't know.
Fuck, I never thought of that. It's true. You could be.
You don't know what he's into.
Yeah, you would. You would never know.
That's nasty. It's funny, but that's nasty. So yeah, I probably won't be a source of a lot of excitement for this episode. Fucking Jean-Claude lethargic over here. Yeah.
That's not. I don't think that's. Oh, I see. Jean-Claude lethargic. I get it.
Jean-Claude Van Damme.
Jean. Jacques.
Jacques too slow.
That's pretty good.
I'll allow it.
So when are we having a cookout at your house, Robbie?
I don't know. I was definitely not looking at grills when I sent you that picture of a grill earlier.
That's why I was asking. I figured you were. That'd probably be one of the first goddamn things I'd buy if I had a house or a townhome or something.
Yeah, you're thinking like me. I told girlfriend exactly that. I'd be prepared to eat barbecue for like 3 months straight.
Ain't nothing wrong with that. Are you allowed to have a grill? Let's not put anything on record. Let's not put
Oh
anything
no,
on
I
record.
assume that I can because the current owner or previous whatever current tenant, I don't know, whatever they're fucking considered, they have one.
Mhm.
And everybody else does. The HOA laws don't seem like they're very strict about anything.
That's good. If you're going to have an HOA, you might as well have a useless HOA.
Well, that's the best kind to have.
That's what I think.
You're
You're
just
saying HOA twice.
Yeah, HOA. Yeah.
You got to be careful because if you
just said the
say
same
that
thing
into
for-
a mirror 3 times, there will be a
Karen.
magic fine that will appear on your door because your grass is a half an inch too tall.
See, that's
You stared into your mirror too long, sir, and we could see you through the window.
That's
$25
Your
fine.
car's been parked on the side of the street for more than 4 hours. You're going to have to move that. I don't care if you're sleeping. I don't care if it's 3 a.m.
You set out your garbage and you did it much earlier than 13 seconds before the truck shows up. So that's a $50 fine.
Also,
my
you
God.
didn't do a double knot on it, so that's an extra $5.
And the
Yeah, we
thing is,
checked.
man, I have heard horror stories. I've had one HOA, and that was when I lived in Charlotte, and they were fine. Like, I don't think we ever had any interaction with them. Yeah, I don't remember anything. So, but I dared a motherfucker to come to my door and tell me I think the only thing was like your trash cans couldn't be visible out front and stuff like that. I mean, I get the point. I do, but like
I
Doug
was
said,
mad.
Hoa was mad.
Well, you can look at the rules of you know how periodically it's less of a thing now, but for a while there, people were making a lot of YouTube videos, other things about stupid laws in a particular town, and you
like
could
ice cream cone in your pocket in Kentucky.
yeah. You know,
Weird one to remember, but yeah.
It's because it was weird. It stuck in my head.
well, there was something about like an elephant somewhere in Alabama, you know, because apparently some schmuck had an elephant at one point in time.
So they had to make it illegal.
So, they had to do something about that, but there were weird twists and turns to it. But, it's like those, the same, in the same vein, in the same spirit, are people who get on HOA boards and make stupid rules just so they can get rid of one particular person that they don't fucking like.
Well, the elephant law was probably something to do with Roll Tide.
Roll Tide.
Raise hell and praise Dale, y'all.
Roll Tide.
I'm the type that would cut off my head to spite my face if some HOA Karen got fucking froggy, and that's my problem. I'm probably not as bad as I was, say, 10 years ago, but I'd still make it my life's fucking mission.
If it's bad enough, you could always just go Walker County on them.
That's what I'm saying. So, and I don't want to be that
it's
guy.
Like, hey, you're the leader of this HOA. You're causing me a lot of problems, and then your house just mysteriously burns down because that was the thing in Walker County. Somebody fucked your wife, you burned their house down.
Yeah.
That was a way to settle scores. It was weird and extreme.
Burning somebody's house down is terribly inconvenient for them, I imagine.
Yeah.
Yeah, for a few days, maybe, probably.
Yeah. It's like, if they're running the HOA and there's no H. I'm just saying.
Fair enough. Like, I think this disqualifies you, actually, because you no longer have a house in this neighborhood, ma'am.
They had to write a law in North Carolina that convicted felons can't be a sheriff because the sheriff in my hometown when I was growing up was going to try to run again after he was a convicted felon.
That wasn't too terribly long ago, was it?
It was not.
They made the law. I mean. So.
Yeah, he was trying to run, and the problem was if he ran, he was going to win because everyone in the county is fucking stupid.
What was it? It was that fucking...
I don't want to say. I feel like...
if you say his name...
like a mafia in fucking the county. But they would go bust your drugs. They go bust your fucking meth lab and then sell the meth back to you and shit like that.
Yeah, he was pretty famous, actually.
Yeah,
so
he had a TV show.
About that. Yeah, I remember reading about that. I didn't know that was your hometown. That explains a lot about you, actually.
Yeah, they had a car chase going down the street, and they ended up... The guy shot himself in the back of the head with a shotgun.
Twice. Yeah, that happens.
And then put his body into a garbage
wood chipper.
Well, it'd be some shit like, he shot himself in the back of the head twice with a pump action shotgun. As in, he went blam and then decided, nope, that's not enough. Blam.
Speaking of people from your county, Adam, how's your mom these days?
Doing pretty good.
Good. Glad to hear it.
Yeah.
Just saying, since she got married, I don't hear from her like I used to. So
that'll happen.
Kind of rude. Kind of rude,
She's faithful, So now she's locked down.
Just saying. I don't. I take a lot of time. When I take my dick pics, and
if you liked it, you should have put a cock ring on it.
A lot of time taking the dick pic, or a lot of time in Photoshop after you take it.
I mean, it's part of the process, Adam. It's all part of the process.
These are the new Adobe AI tools.
You got to get the angle. You got to get the angle right. If you do that, you don't need to Photoshop. I mean, so here.
Yeah. Someone I never met told me.
Someone who isn't me.
Hey, AI, create an angle of the dangle that makes this look big. Yeah, makes it look big. So.
Speaking of people from my county, this kid I grew up with, I went to high school with, he just got popped for possession of a ton of child porn. So it was fun.
No.
Oh, yeah.
I was talking about this recently. We were talking about, I made a joke about how many drag queens have been busted for, child porn, child molestation. Everyone's always like, I'm like, yeah, now how many senators and pastors and Boy Scout fucking troop leaders and, and we got on the subject. I remember someone told me a long time ago, God, I was in my 20s. And so
Is it Uncle Steve?
Uncle Steve. Don't worry about Uncle Steve. About 20 years ago or so, I was having this conversation with somebody and I said, I don't get it. I don't understand pedophiles. I don't understand.
Yeah, I hope you don't.
And that's what my buddy said at the time.
I hope you don't.
We were probably getting stoned at the time, and he looked at me and was like, "That's good, Dan. That's good Dan, that you don't get it." Yeah, and I remember having this epiphany moment of he's right. Actually, like me not understanding it, me not comprehending it. I mean, I've seen 17-year-old girls at the mall and been like, "God damn," and then you get closer, you're like, "Oh, God damn," But I'm talking like these people that they get busted with uh, like 10-year-olds and shit. Like what? It's just what?
Yeah, I don't fucking get it, but
they have no boobs, they have no bodies, they have no. They're children, like they're children. I just
on the basest level, like let's just ignore everything else.
I usually do.
Let's ignore all the moral implications. All of them.
All right, I'm ignoring all of the moral implications. Let's do this.
If you completely ignored all the moral implications at a very base level, I mean, because, some of like a lot of things, some of it's got to be about power and blah, 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 because it's like, I don't know why, especially you hear about motherfuckers getting raped in nursing homes. So it was, it's crazy.
That's nasty too. Yeah, that's nasty.
At the most base level, people talk in general about not being able to keep up with their children's energy level. Now, let's say that the weirdest thing happens and the person that they chose to engage in these activities with decided that they liked it. Would you be able to keep up with blah, blah, blah? That's just, crazy.
I have no idea what you're saying. Are you saying you couldn't keep up with a child? Is that what you're trying to say?
With a 10-year-old? Yeah.
Like even if you just ignore that it's wrong.
It's like, dude, you can go out. They could be like, let's go out and have a foot race. And you just, in both of you, haul ass across the yard. And you're like, I'm an adult. I've got longer legs and blah, blah, blah. I beat you. But then the kid's like, let's do it again. And you're like, fuck, I put everything I had into that.
Those longer legs are how you catch the kids. That's how that works.
So I figured I would be the one to go out on the insane limb on this particular podcast.
Well, it's good to know it's not the morality is keeping you from doing it. It's the fact,
it's the fact that he doesn't have the energy. Yeah.
It's like I don't have the morality that would allow it. I don't have the energy that would allow it. But it's like, it's like that there are kids at this apartment complex and they love the dog, and it's like I encourage them to pet the dog, but under no circumstances would I want to invite anybody back for anything. It's like there's kids out there that play catch, they play this, they play that, and it's like, yeah, I could do that for about 3 fucking minutes and I would be laying on the ground sucking wind while the kids skate around. They do this, they do that. They got more energy than I'll ever have.
Mark.
Yeah. This is true. I'm sure there is some validity to that.
Well, I mean that's like, like I said at the beginning, it's like if you take all the morality out of it and answer it as a psychopath. And that's what I just did. I answered it like a psychopath.
I think if you take the morality out of it,
it doesn't matter because you don't want to do it anyway. I mean,
right.
I hope
to me it's still gross because it's a child, and I have zero sexual attraction to children. Like I said, even when I see somebody from a distance, as soon as my brain registers their face as a child, as a kid, because I've seen 12-year-olds with tits the size of the fucking Titanic. Like I don't know what we're putting in the chicken.
And then
but again, once I see that they're a 12-year-old, I'm like, like that.
Exactly.
So I just don't get it. But back to
it's
the
like
original
I
point.
would do the same thing, except after that, I would be like, oh my God, I don't envy her father or her, her parents in general. And that's, I sincerely hope that that's not going to become a problem because, there are people that would see that and be like, ooh.
Yeah, the 12-year-old part wouldn't bother them much. I knew a guy like
and
that,
that's
actually.
just fucking,
apparently I did. I just didn't know it.
Well, yeah,
it's
exactly.
disturbing.
Exactly.
I know the guy you speak of.
I knew a guy that he said and did some things that were weird. This was probably, I don't know, mid to late 90s, and he said and did some things that were weird, but I don't think I wasn't aware of pedophilia, or like I don't know. I didn't understand how common it was, I guess. I don't know. And he was 19, maybe 20, and he was fucking around with 13-year-olds, 14-year-olds.
Oh God.
And he got busted, and at the time the judge was like, well, you could, because he didn't like get him pregnant or anything. I don't remember the fucking nature of everything. All I remember is that he went into the military very suddenly, and without really discussing it. And the general consensus is that he was given an option by the judge. So
great. Join the military. It's a great idea.
Right. Well, because a lot of people, I mean, probably still now, but especially then, you're talking 20, 25 years ago, thought, well, he just needed some discipline, right? And so he goes to the military. He does his 4 years, whatever, and he gets out. And he's telling us his exploits in other countries where it's a little more lenient to.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Send him overseas and let him fucking diddle kids overseas. That's a great idea.
He did. And we were like, oh, you need to, we were like, yeah, you need to fuck off, And then he got busted. I think he got her pregnant. At this point, he's 25 or so, and he got this 16-year-old pregnant. And we were like, yeah, you need to fuck off now, dude. Like, you have a weird problem. We started to understand that he was, because at 19 and he was kind of immature, and we were like, I don't know, he likes younger girls. I don't know. Then you get to be your mid 20s and you're fucking 16-year-olds, and it's like, nah, there's something wrong with you, dude. So
yeah,
I'm sure he's still out there in the world somewhere, fucking with, terabytes of fucking child porn nowadays, because it's easier to get than ever.
21-year-olds looked great when I was 5. They still look great when I'm 50. It's just now, it's they look great, but it's like no desire, absolutely zero desire for any of the above. Because it looks good and it may be fun to play with, but that's literally about it. And
21-year-olds are on the table. That's 21-year-olds. That's, I'm down.
Yeah,
nothing younger than that, but I'm down.
But I mean, even at that, it's like, what in the hell? Because no matter how much you want to, no matter what you take, I don't care what magic boner pill that you put in your system. eventually you're going to have to do something other than screw. And I do not have hardly anything in common with a 21-year-old. And
I have nothing in common with a 21-year-old.
Yeah.
And I disagree that you have to do anything besides screw.
But, it's like...
If it's a 21-year-old, you're definitely going to have to do something besides screw.
No.
They don't know what friends with benefits means.
No, you just get rid of them. You just go, this ain't going to work, baby.
Oh, yeah. Oh, I thought you meant like a mafia get rid of them.
That'd be, hey, forget about it.
Hey, she took a little trip.
She's going to be gone for a while. I wouldn't worry about it. No.
Yeah, she up and moved to Guam. Yeah, Guam.
Yeah, that would be some hookup culture shit right there, man.
Speaking of
chick with daddy issues.
No.
Speaking of like priests and those kind of people being like the number one offender of that shit, it kind of makes sense because every time a religious person tries to tell me religion is important, they ask me really dumb questions like, well, what's keeping you from just going out and killing everyone or raping everybody if you don't believe
believe in Jesus
in hell? And I'm like, oh, well, the fact that I don't want to.
And I guess I'm not a huge piece of shit
because it's wrong.
Yeah, I guess I don't need a reason to not be a fucking literal piece of shit.
Yeah, so that's what I would be
of God.
Be like, so what you're saying is if that book wasn't in your hand that you're talking to me with, that you would be the biggest piece of shit on the planet. That's what you're saying, right?
Hell yeah, you filthy heathen.
Most of the time they still are, but actually,
yes.
I downloaded a video from TikTok I was going to share with you guys. He's a pastor. I guess it looks like he's from Charlotte, North Carolina. And he's talking about politics and religion, about how the two should have nothing to do with one another. And he starts lambasting people for the Bible that I think Trump was hawking, the one that it's got. So it's a Bible, but apparently it has the Declaration of Independence and the Constitution in the Bible. And
he's Celebration of Church and State, it's fine.
Yeah, and he's just lambasting it. He's like, if you find any solace in that whatsoever, you do not have Christ in your life. Like, you do not understand the meaning of Christ. He's like, because the Bible is not an American. That is not an American Bible, And he goes on, and it was, as an atheist, I'm having an amen moment. I'm like, get him. But because that is the problem, right? Religion and politics have been butt fucking each other for a long, long time. And a lot of fucking people have died because of it. The amount of people that have died because of religion and politics getting intertwined with one another is putrid. It's fucking disgusting. And I don't know how anybody can.
It keeps on happening over and over and over. And name a country.
Well, that's
it's
what I mean.
Like
it's
sometimes when
too,
things
right?
get weird, you see them mix up politics and religion, and then all of a sudden, there's this rise in whatever in the hell, as far as, whatever political party that you choose to name. And, the first lesson of many religions is everybody else's religion sucks. It's almost like it's some sort of, copyright infringement deal, to where, they're fucking with our trademark. So you can't have any other, stuff which is, going to be based by, as far as anything is concerned, it's just numbers and luck, depending upon where you're born, on what you believe, the way that you're raised, the whole 9 yards.
And that's why we have the American Jesus.
Yeah.
American Jesus. Hell yeah.
You see him on the interstate.
Praise Dale. Yeah, I can't find that guy's name. I'll send you the video later, but it was one of those things where you wish more people would listen. apparently I have a dog that needs to crap because, why not wait until right the fuck now? So I'll be back. You guys enjoy.
I will enjoy.
You will. Good. I hope you do.
Good. I will.
Well, there we were.
Yeah. So there we were.
Crickets
asking,
started chirping.
Where, yeah, there we were. Right there.
And all we had was a butter knife and 3 tacos.
You were lucky to have a knife.
Luxury.
Back in my day, we didn't even have taco shells. We had to eat tacos by hand. Just scoop your hand right in there.
Hand tacos.
Huh. You had hands.
Luxury.
Fancy.
Luxury.
Fancy. Did you get that at Williams in Sonoma?
Have you guys ever noticed people say, there's 5 minutes of my life I can't get back when you waste their time? But
Quite often, actually.
But you can't get time back even if it's worth it.
That's true.
So I'm wondering where the fuck these guys are getting time back at, because goddamn it, I need to go get some back.
I completely understand that. I have felt that way after many a movie, especially if I paid money to see said movie. Let's see here. What was the one that was? It did not click to me that it was Blair Witch bullshit, but looked like a kaiju movie.
Cloverfield?
Cloverfield. Yes.
Yep.
I was so pissed because I'm
because you never see the monster. You were waiting for like a monster movie, right?
Yeah, I wanted to see a monster movie, not assholes running around with a jiggly camera.
Yeah.
That whole series was very strange. Like, it just got out there. What was the second one where they were
10
like in
Cloverfield
a bunker
Lane?
or something? Yeah.
With John Goodman. Wasn't that John Goodman?
That was the only thing that saved the movie for me.
What, John Goodman being in
Yeah.
Dude, I felt that way after seeing the new Civil War movie. That thing sucks.
Tell me about
the premise about that? Yeah.
So all the trailers are like, dude, epic civil war, and all these fucking factions are battling it out, and it's like, okay, we're gonna dive into, what caused the war, and see some people fighting and stuff. You never figure out what the war's about. You never see the front line. No one ever tells you what faction they're in, and you don't know why it's happening, and the whole time you're just following this group of press. And the whole movie's about, wow, war really fucks up your head, because they're just taking pictures of fucked up shit the whole time. That's the entire movie.
Yeah.
Sounds like a thriller.
It's awful, dude. It's fucking terrible.
What kills me is like, how do these movies get greenlit and then somebody edits that stuff together and then they it's like obviously there's got to be something, some sort of review process that happens, as it goes out of the studio, because there's been a couple of movies so bad that they've decided not even to release them. It's like, so what is that threshold, and how did some of these just absolute shit movies get past that process?
Well, the A24 made Civil War, and they're like an indie studio. So I don't think their QA really exists, because half their movies are amazing and half their movies are really bad.
Imagine the movies that get canceled and then compare them to the dollar bin at Walmart. Those get passed. Imagine how bad the shitty movies that don't make it have to be to not pass that threshold.
Yeah. There's a bunch of movies that they just make and then they shelve. But I had heard it's not entirely about the movie being bad. It's just like a tax write-off thing. Like, they don't ever actually want to put it out. They just go through the steps of producing it to write it off because capitalism works every time.
It got written off. But none of them will hold up to the gold standard of movies, such as Tommy Wiseau's The Room.
Oh, hi, Mark.
But that even is foreshadowed by his latest movie. What was it? Big Shark?
He's got a new one? Nuh-uh.
Yeah, I went and saw it in theaters. It was bad. It was very, very, very bad.
Oh, I can't imagine it would be bad. Coming from
You could hear the
acclaimed,
audio popping from the shitty dollar store microphone that they used. And then all of a sudden it'll be like really quiet audio, then it just jump in volume like 20 decibels and no particular reason.
Yeah, they're violating the Comm Act with that one, dude. You can't have you just crazy. That's like a whole movie, dude. That's like a whole movie.
It's one of those movies like The Room where it's so bad, but you just can't stop watching it because you have more fun picking apart the movie than the actual plot. Yeah,
the best part
Big
about
Shark.
The Room, Big Shark.
Well, the only difference is, like we all know that's kind of what Disney has turned into, is a shitty movie factory. It's almost like the dialogue was written by, 2016 AI.
It might be. It might be ChatGPT.
Star Wars spinoff number 732, the Janitor Union.
Yeah, the Janitor Union.
The Custodian Chronicles.
Yeah. Someone played Half-Life Blue Shift and like, this is perfect. We just have this nobody, right? Dude, this Big Shark, just from the fucking photo, it looks awful. It looks like
the
Jaws.
Trailer that I sent you, it sums it up fairly well.
What?
Big Shark trailer number 1. Tarnation. That's where I live.
What? Something like that.
You see what happens when we don't have supervision, Dan?
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, man. You gotta be here.
It's all your fault.
Dan's like, what in the chicken fried fuck are y'all talking about? Actually, that sounds more Robbie. I mean, but
yeah.
My pronouns are you and all.
You and all. Y'all. Dog didn't even poop.
I was talking about Civil War, Dan, while you were gone.
Yeah.
Awful. Terrible movie.
Yeah, I've heard, and it's I was excited about it until I saw some critics talking about like what it was really about and stuff like that, and I was like, well, no, I wanted to watch a cool movie about the U.S. tearing itself apart from the inside.
Yeah, you never learn what the war is about or who's on what side.
Well,
they allude to it a lot.
All you got to do is watch the Republicans in Congress. They're too busy arguing with each other. Just saying.
But woke and stuff and transgenders and other buzzwords.
And other buzzwords.
Woke.
Well, it's
it's the new 9/11. Woke.
I can't remember.
Just say that over and over.
Just say
what
woke.
Republican
and you're
Congress.
elected.
It's like I can't remember what Republican congressman it was at this point, but after Marjorie Taylor Greene pitching a fit over the Ukraine aid and everything else, there is a Republican congressman who has now given her the nickname of Moscow Marjorie.
I'm on board with this. All right, go on.
Moscow Marjorie.
Yeah, and like both, like Marjorie Taylor Greene and Lauren Boebert both were terribly upset that after the bill passed through the House, that there were some people that got down on the House floor and they were waving these little tiny 6-inch, like little Ukrainian flags and they were just terribly upset about that. It's like, Jesus Christ, could you be any more transparent? It's like, are they funding you, or is it one of those things where you just love their particular brand of disinformation bullshit that you're willing to buy into it since you already did, like Jewish space lasers level bullshit?
Well, they could just be fiscally conservative and they don't want us to spend money on wars that we're not in.
I think that it's a little from column A, B. Sometimes it's about, and I think we've talked about this before, about how as long as you're saying fuck the other party, then it's thumbs up.
It doesn't even matter what the issue is. Yeah.
Right. If you're just there to piss off the other party, then you're good and we're going to support that. And I think that is the most evil, useless, pointless shit on the fucking planet. Because it does absolutely nothing. It does nothing of any value. If you have platforms you want to run on and you have ideas, ideology, even if I don't agree with it, if you're doing it because it's actually what you believe, then it's kind of like the old saying, I don't agree with the word you said, but I'll defend to the death your right to say it.
Yeah.
I will defend you, right? Say, hey, guy's an idiot, but when all you're doing is motherfucking the other side, you're muddying the water so fucking bad that you make politics completely fucking useless.
Oh yeah. And the crazy thing about it is the line that they were using, and I know who it's designed for. The line that they were using, that they were against it, they basically said that they wanted to secure our border before they funded any of that stuff. But, they had an opportunity, several months ago to do something about the border. But then Donald Trump said no, and that's all it took. So their argument against it was something that they have already voted down, but they're depending upon that, short memory span of the people that are their backers.
It's very difficult for me as a Gen Xer. It is almost impossible for me to fathom United States citizens standing there looking in my face telling me that Putin is a good man, that he's a Christian or Catholic or whatever the fuck he is.
Oh, honey, bless your heart.
And that he's a strong leader. And dude, and these are conservatives. These are the fucking crazy ass fucking left wing, right wing. Fucking, I don't know, it's the same bird.
Which wing?
One of the wings. Lemon pepper wing. I knew that'd get you. I knew that'd
Keep
get
going.
him.
I'm almost there.
Keep going. Almost. This was a ultra MAGA fucking conservative sitting here telling me how great Putin is and we should listen to him. And he's going after Ukraine because that's where Biden's hiding all of his fucking child porn and money and all this stuff.
No, stop.
And
is that real?
That's what they're saying, is that the Ukraine has been is where all these politicians, all these Democrats, because Republicans don't ever do this, that all these Democrats are hiding money. And I'm sitting here again, in Ukraine. It has nothing to do with Ukraine being the breadbasket of the world. It has nothing to do with Ukraine seceding from Mother Russia many, many years ago, and Putin saying then that he was going to get it back. It has nothing to do with that, right? That man.
Well, it's the disinformation campaign,
right? And
they ran because
him and his group have been fucking phenomenal at that, right?
Yes.
And we all know he was pre-KGB, and he was fucking good at his job. Everybody. He got many, many accolades for being good at his job in the KGB, and his ability, the disinformation that him and his people push is fucking amazing. And it's so good that it's got And the reason that I say that, the point that I was trying to make, being a Gen Xer, is that I grew up in the 80s, and the height of the Cold War, the Moscow, Russia was always the bad guy, the antagonist in every fucking movie, story, whatever. Hollywood was pumping out with the U.S. government, I'm sure, pumping billions and trillions of dollars into it. I mean, even Rocky fought the Ivan Drago.
They were woke before woke was a thing.
Right. So for you to sit there and tell me that Putin is this great guy, one, it's real hard for me to accept. Two, there's a lot of folks out there, Russians, that when they get the fuck out of Russia and don't have any family left there, tell you a completely different story. But to Doug's point, the disinformation has gotten so good that they've got Americans saying, "Oh, we need a leader like Putin." Fuck, what?
Well, it's because of very specific things. If you take a look at it and you look at it closely, and you've got to get down, you've got to read to find this shit out, okay? But
I'm out.
Well, it's not like I'm talking about like an obscure reference novel or anything. It's just I'm talking about you got to read a shitload of news. But a lot of the policies that he's enacted, as far as like cracking down on press agencies that say things that they don't like, things like basically outlawing being gay, period, full stop. So there are some social issues there that amongst certain circles that they would, love to be able to do and perpetuate those same things. These people said things that I don't agree with, therefore they don't have a right to exist anymore. So we're just going to shut that down because we don't want to hear it. And these people have different views. We just want to shut that down. We don't want to hear it. And it seems that's where modern conservatism has wound up. And what's weird is normally, societally, that would be a hallmark indicator that the thing was about to die. But as opposed to that thing being about to die, social media and the like, along with algorithms pushing that for an anger narrative and sending people down rabbit holes, it's growing more than it should. And it's very troubling, and I've said this God knows how many times.
And it's interesting too, talking about social media and this big push now to divest TikTok or ban it or whatever because it's a Chinese-owned company. And
we want the Americans to steal all your data, not the Chinese.
Yeah, and the problem with that is that meanwhile, companies, all companies, 98% of companies are sending all of their manufacturing to China. Okay, so we're sending them all of our IP, but we don't want them to know.
Now they have our IP and our IP because we're using TikTok. Now, IP and our IP.
You're talking IPv4 or IPv6?
Oh, TikTok, because it's...
So anyway,
I'm just glad that you cricketed yourself. I'm proud of you, son.
It's okay for these companies to send billions of dollars of technology and all that over there, right? But the thing is that I believe Spotify is owned by a Chinese company. There were a couple other that I found that were owned or majority owned by Chinese companies. Tencent, which has all the games. The point being is that TikTok is not the only company or piece of software that China is using. And there's been what's the word I want to use? There's been sort of a murmuring that what the U.S. government doesn't like is that they aren't able to censor the content the way because you look at Twitter, right? And what they did is they got all the conservatives wound up saying, well, Twitter's suppressing certain news information. And then supposedly some folks came out and said that worked at Twitter said, yeah, we pushed a bunch of stuff about Biden, his kid, Hunter Biden. We pushed that down, So then you get Tesla dork in there that buys Twitter. So kind of like what Adam said, right? If the U.S. owns it, then they're okay with it. But if another country owns it, and they can't get in there and decide what can and can't be, because TikTok actually has become the new Twitter in the sense that I've watched influencers, if you want to call them that. I was watching this woman that's in Israel, anyway, and she's talking about the shit that's going on over there, and she's like, where the fuck was everybody 10 years ago? Where the fuck was everybody 5 years ago? She said, now y'all want to talk about it. And she's going on. And the interesting part about social media, and one of the things I always liked about Twitter, I remember at one point there was some country, there was a fucking coup, and there was no information getting out of this country because the government was shutting it all down except for like fucking Twitter. People were, managing to get little bits of information out from Twitter. Now, can that information be false? Of course, all information can be false. That's the fucking thing. But when you're seeing multiple sources saying, they're driving tanks, it kind of reminds you of like Tiananmen Square, right?
I think what you're thinking about is the Arab Spring. That was,
I don't remember.
That was largely reported and conducted over Twitter through DMs and a bunch of other things.
And that's my point, is that social media has the power to do that because it's decentralized to some degree. And I brought up Tiananmen Square. If you go to google.cn, which is a Chinese, .cn is the Chinese, whatever the fuck. Domain, thank you. Jesus. If you go to google.com and you type in Tiananmen Square, you're going to get that historic picture of the guy standing in front of the tank, right? If you go to tiananmensquare.cn, there's no mention of that. You can't find it there, right? And that's the part about government, what's the word, interference, right? China basically said Google cannot operate in China unless they scrub those images from the .cn domain. And Google did it, okay?
Well, if they didn't, China was going to steal the fucking source code and make their own Google.
Sure, so. But the point is Google did that because they wanted the impressions. They wanted the ad impressions. Yeah. They wanted the data. So it's okay for $1 billion company to do it, right? But TikTok does their thing, and all of a sudden they're bad.
Dude, that's what pisses me off is that the government will write a letter to Twitter, or, before they'd write a letter. Mm-hmm. Yeah, can you take this down? Can you take that down? Can you censor this? Can you push that down the algorithm? And then they would do it. Mm-hmm. And then when anyone got mad about it, they would say, well, they're a private company. They can do whatever they want. It's like, no, they're not. They're fucking government owned at this point.
And all this, and Elon Musk is the same way. He's in bed with them. The fucking feds are pulling his fucking chains just like everybody else.
No
Zuckerberg, all of them. If you are a company in the United States, if you're a social media company and you're operating out of the U.S., you are bought and fucking paid for by the CIA or whoever the fuck it is that.
No, that's just in China. China's the only ones that get in bed with all the big tech companies.
Right. And that's why I'm just, if you don't want to use TikTok, don't use it. Right? If you don't want it on military bases, because people are like, yeah, they can spy on military bases, and that big vast nothingness up above our planet called space. There's a lot of fucking satellites up there, dude. A lot of satellites doing way more fucking harm than somebody's cell phone. That's just a fact. But if you don't want it on military bases, so you can't have it on military bases. If you don't want it in. If a company says, hey, we don't want you to have TikTok on you can't use TikTok at the office, fine, put out a rule that says that. I'm fine with that. But this idea that you have to, that you're going to ban an entire app, I don't know, man. It smells shady as fuck.
Smells very Chinese.
Right. It smells like something China would do. Just saying.
Yeah, it's like the thing that they're doing to ban a Chinese app is exactly what China would do.
Absolutely.
Fucking
China would just say it was. That's the interesting thing. It's like the Chinese government is effectively, once you really boil it down, a bunch of technocrats. If you take a look at the backgrounds that a lot of these guys have before they rise into the upper echelons of power, they're organizing big things, events, construction projects, bridge building, all of that kind of stuff. A lot of that crap that involves logistics. And when you own the means of production and the law and everything else, when you want something to happen, it does not look like, what you would normally consider your standard democracy, which is slow moving while you get a bunch of people to agree on what needs to be done. All you have to have is the people at the very top say, this is what we want. How do we do this? And then you've got an expert in that particular field who tells you, well, this is what we're going to need to do this, blah, blah, blah. And then they fucking do it.
Well, that's because all of our politicians have been politicians their whole fucking lives. They don't know how to do anything else. They're dumb. They know how to politic. So you ask them how to get something done, they go, I don't know.
You're doing a lot of politicking, boy.
Doing a lot of picnicking and politicking, boy. Give me a baby to kiss.
Now, when I say that, I'm not saying that the Chinese government is vastly superior or anything else. I'm just saying, as far as it's terribly efficient for whatever the people at the top want.
I'm pretty sure that you just said you're a commie and you are losing your spot in the vault. So
yeah, why did you DM me earlier and say you were taking classes in Mandarin?
He is.
Sure, we'll go with that.
That's what you said. You said, hey, what's going on, comrade? I am taking classes in Mandarin.
That's
So, Comrade Adam.
That's one of my more favorite parts about Fallout is it's got the old 50s Red Scare
okie dokie
feel. Yeah, okie dokie has a very 50s Red Scare feel to it, and it's done very well. If you haven't seen that show, I never played the games. I'm familiar with some of the lore. I'm familiar with the game. I think I own all the games, and I actually played, and I did not know this until not too long ago. I used to play a game back when I was like 13, 14 on probably Commodore, I think it was, called Wasteland. And I did not know
that game.
That was the very, very old predecessor to Fallout, because the people who did that game, or some of the folks that did that game, had wanted to do a Wasteland 2, but they didn't have goes back to intellectual property and blah, 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 blah. And so that turned into Fallout. And I did not know that. It was pretty wild. I had a buddy that his dad had a Commodore, and we were almost like not even allowed to touch it. Every now and again, he'd let us play like, I think one of the very early Baldur Gates, and then Wasteland, and I think that was about it. But it's a good show. I mean, even if you didn't play the games, it's the kind of show you can sit down and gather what's going on with it. And apparently the ghoul, played by Walton Goggins, is now a topic of erotic fan fiction.
Oh, Jesus.
Of course.
Yeah, I know. That's what I said too when I saw it. I was like, yeah,
fucking Rule 34, man.
Exactly.
It just never goes away.
Yeah. So it's if you have a decomposed human being running around, there are women that are fantasizing about him. So that's going to piss off the incels. We can fix him.
I can fix him.
Yeah, nobody can fix Walton. Walton is a broken Alabama man. All right, well.
You guys You're about. I'm just kidding.
I got nothing, man. I got nothing. It's time for me to go back to sleep. I need a nap.